Hey class, it's Miss Jones. Today we are going to go over a basic fraction to decimal to percent lesson. As we're going through this unit, these fractions, decimals, and percentages will be foundational, and we will need to know this for some of our other things we're going to do. So let's practice. First, let's look at this picture across the top of our notes. We have a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. Yes, these are all equal to each other. Now these directions right here with these arrows tell us how to go from a fraction to a percent, to a decimal, and then to a percent. And if I really wanted to, from a percent back to a decimal. Now, from a decimal to a fraction is blacked out because I don't want to worry about it today. I don't want to. Let's start one by one and practice with these directions. First, you'll notice our problems are asking us to write each as a decimal. So I have a fraction and I need to go to a decimal. So from here to here. My directions tell me I need to divide numerator by denominator. Now, word to the wise. What that means when you're sticking it in your calculator is you're going to go from top to bottom. Okay? That means you're going to type in your calculator 3 divided by 4, just like that. So I'm going to write that down so we remember. This is what goes in your calculator. If you do it in the opposite order, you will get the wrong answer. Okay, so first off, let's look at our number 1. The direction said to divide numerator divided by denominator, top divided by bottom. So here comes my calculator. And the first thing I'm going to put in is the top number, 36. Boop, boop. That fraction bar literally means to divide. So divided by 95. Boop, boop, go. And I get that answer. I'm sure I'm going to need to round, so let's go ahead and look. 0.378994. And we are going to round to the hundredths place. The hundredths is this one right here. So 36 over 95 is equivalent or equal to 0.38. Now you'll notice I have a point right there. A lot of people like to write 0 point, but either way, you don't really need the 0, but you can. So put it there if you want it, or don't put it there if you don't. As long as you've got the decimal in the right place, you're okay. Awesome. So there's our first example. We divided from top to bottom, and then we rounded, which you guys are getting really good at. Let's do one more together. 1/3. So in our calculator, we are going to type in 1 divided by 3. Remember, top to bottom. 1 divided by 3 is 0.33333 repeating. Now this time, when I look at my hundredths place, I don't need to round up. So when I write my final answer, 0.33. Again, I could put some zeros here, or I could just not write them because zeros are not necessary. So there it is. Done. Now, I want you to try 3 through 12, and then go check your answers at the back of the room. Pause and do that. Now that you're back, let's do the next section together. Now that you're back, we'll look at the next page. Now this time I have a decimal, and my directions are telling me to write it as a percent. So let's look at our directions. Here is a decimal, and if I want to move it to the percentages, it says I need to multiply by 100. So in my calculator, I'm going to write 0.75 times 100. Let's do that together. For number 16, I'll go ahead and type in 0.47 times 100 equals 47. So 0.47 is the same thing as 47%. Now some of you are saying, don't you just move the decimal 2 times? Yes, that is the same thing as multiplying by 100, but the moving the decimal is the shortcut. So let's write that down as well, shall we? On our notes, we can write move the decimal and it's going to go 2 places that way, to the right. Okay? And that way works really well, moving the decimal 2 places. Except, let's look at number 17. That decimal doesn't have 2 places to go. Watch. If I move it once, boop, I need to move it again. Boop. Oh, then you can just put a 0 in that spot. 0.7 is equal to 70%. Voila! So, you can use either method that you feel comfortable with. You can multiply by 100, or you can move the decimal 2 places as your shortcut. Either way, you should end up with a correct percentage. Please finish number 18 through 29, and then go check your answers, and then come back to the video. Pause now. This last section is fun because we are given a fraction, but if you look at our directions, we are supposed to write it as a percentage. How are we going to do that? Let's look at our notes one more time. Here they are. I need to go from a fraction all the way over to a percent. That means this is going to be a 2-step process. We're going to need to go from fraction to decimal to percent. Let's see what that looks like. On number 31, we have this fraction. To go from a fraction to a decimal, we divide. Top divided by bottom. Okay, let's do that step. 2 divided by 999. Ooh, that's a tiny number. I'm going to write it down. So, 0.002. And I'm going to round it off to right there. Are we all okay with that? Sure we are. But we're not done yet. That's not a percentage. That's still a decimal. So I have another step to do. I'm going to take this number and change it into a percent. I can move the decimal 2 times. 1, 2. And I would have to put the decimal right in front of the 2. This is 0.2%. It's a very, very small percent. You want to be careful with your percents that you don't just take it to the end of the number. Always make sure that it is 2 decimal places. Let's try one more together. On number 32, we have 7 over 9. So first, we need to make this fraction into a decimal by dividing just like the fraction bar means. So 7 divided by 9 equals, 0.7 repeating. Now you might ask yourself, why is there an 8 at the end of this? Because my calculator rounded when it ended out of space. So I'm going to go ahead and round to 0.78. And again, that's a decimal, but it is not a percentage. So I'm ready to change it into a percentage. I'm going to take that decimal and move it 2 times. 1, 2. Aha! It needs to end up at the back of the 8. So I have 78%. In case you're curious, whenever you get a score on a test or a quiz, this method that we're using right now is exactly how you can calculate your grade on that assignment, quiz, or test. For example, number 33. Let's say there was a quiz and it was worth 25 points. You got 4 of those points correct. Let's find out what your grade is. Let's go. First, divide. 4 divided by 25 is 0.16. There's your decimal. Now let's change it to a percentage by moving that decimal 2 times. 1, 2 goes at the end of the 6. Ooh, your score is a 16%. Wah, wah. Better luck next time. So, finish this worksheet and get it checked. When you're done getting it checked, I want you to make sure to take the notes portion of your worksheet, cut it out, and put it into your notebook so that you're ready for your quiz tomorrow. That's right, quiz tomorrow. Good luck!